Guys, let's review one of the smallest, crappiest guitars in the world. I bought this at the Goodwill, put it on the ground and let it collect dust for 6 months, but I finally, this weekend, got it up and running and strung and fixed up. Let's talk about the Razor X Mini Travel Practice Guitar. I guess that's what it's supposed to do. I don't really know. There's very little information on the internet about this thing, but it's called Razor X. There's a few of them for sale on Reverb every once in a while for like 40 bucks. I paid 20, but it was in bad shape. So we got a Strat style body, Strat style neck, natural, I guess, maple fingerboard, this weird speaker amplifier thing, a single coil pickup, Strat type bridge, candy apple red, hair metal, glam red, whatever. And let's go over what I had to do to it and the parts and features of this weird guitar. So when I got this, the nut was sliding around. So every time you bent a string, that nut would slip out and you have to shove it back in. So finally yesterday, I got around to gluing it in with some Gorilla Glue, which expands. You gotta be careful with that. I clamped it on tight and it's fine, except it's a little skinnier than the neck. It's like a 32nd of an inch thinner than the neck on each side. It's not flush with the sides of the neck, which is weird, but okay, it's a cheap guitar. Oh, I had to put strings on it. Okay, I kind of waited around for my son to restring an old guitar, and I grabbed these 3 high strings and reused them. I didn't buy a whole new set of strings for this goofball guitar, but anyway, I got the strings going. I had to adjust the bridge. I had to get the saddle pieces in place, string it up, and do something with the battery, which I'll show you later. And it's ready to go. It plays fine, it plays nice. But let's go over the design of the guitar and try to figure out what they were doing. Like, who is this guitar for? It's not really clear to me who they marketed this for or what they're trying to achieve with it. I'm assuming it's a travel guitar because it's tiny, but it's not tiny enough. So let's look at the headstock. The headstock on this thing is actually bigger, longer than the headstock on a Strat. I don't know if you can see this, but if you line up the nuts, it's like a 1/4 of an inch longer in the headstock. The distance from the first tuner to the nut is longer than it is on a Strat, and the distance between tuners is wider than it is on a Strat. Like, if you're trying to make a travel guitar and you're trying to make it small, why are you making it larger? You know, it looks out of proportion. Giant headstock, small body. Well, what if you do it this way? Giant body, small headstock. It's a giant headstock, trust me. One weird thing, that the tuners could not be any closer together because they're butting up against each other because they have this screw flangey thing sticking out, which the Fender doesn't have. The Fender actually has space between the tuners, so they could have gone closer together had they really wanted to. That's a real Fender Strat. And there's a Squire, and you know. But if they wanted to make this thing small so you could carry it on the plane, why not do a 3+3, you know, Gibson style tuning? So the headstock would be smaller, you know, 3 and 3 side by side on a Strat. That ends up looking like that gay John Mayer guitar, but whatever. Or you could do 4+2 like the Van Halen EVH models. But what bugs me about this guitar? Headstock, too big, too heavy, too much wood, too much weight. Another odd design thing is the strings do not break straight across the nut. They break at an angle this way. I don't know if you can see that. The strings break at a slight angle at 1 or 2 degrees. So all the strings come off the nut and then they turn this way instead of going straight. Why would you do that? I've never seen that on a guitar before. Is that a mistake? I don't know. And you got the string trees. String trees have metal inserts. I've only seen plastic before, so like some of this guitar is over-engineered. There's more hardware and more, you know, it's hefty. It's solid and hefty, but I don't know what they're designing it for. Fretboard. Fretboard is nice. I guess it's maple-ish, I don't know, but I like the finish. I actually like the finish on here. It seems to be a no finish, satiny, or, you know, Nice and smooth. Frets are nicely done. They're not sticking out and poking you in the finger like the new cheap guitars today do. You can feel some resistance when you're going back and forth. It should be smoother, and there's a little bit of scratchy resistance, but whatever. They're fine for a cheap guitar. You got inlays, dot inlays. So how many frets are on this thing? How many notes are on this thing? And what is the scale? Well, if you lay this against a regular Strat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, does that make any sense? It's basically like we took a capo and put it on the 5th fret. At least that's how I'm interpreting this design. So if you took a capo on the 5th fret, this note would be A instead of E. Okay, so this is an A. Okay, it's a little sharp the way I just tuned it, but trust me. Pretend it's an A. So imagine you have a capo up here. How many notes are you losing? Are you losing 4 frets times 6 notes? Are you losing 24 notes by chopping off 4 frets? No, you're not, because remember, every note on a guitar can be played in more than one place. So what you're really losing is just 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 4, 5. You're missing the lowest 5 notes. That's it. And since you have 21 frets, you actually have 4 additional notes up here. So the highest note on most 21 fret guitars would be that, and then we have 4 more notes. So really, this has the same number of notes as a 21 fret guitar. Your nicer guitars are 22 frets. Your cheaper ones like this Squire are 21 frets. This is 21 frets. And who's gonna use these little baby notes up here anyway? Okay, I've gone over the neck for you. The neck does not have a, what do you call it, routed hole for a truss rod. So I don't actually know if this guitar has a truss rod or not. I haven't played it for you at all, have I? Yeah, it plays. We'll play it more. Okay, we'll play it more. We'll show you how it plays, but I'm gonna go over the features. Okay, we've gone over the neck. The back has 4 screws, but no metal neck plate, which is not a big deal to me. The strap screw is in a weird place, which I think is, I wouldn't do anything that compromises the integrity of the neck, but it's not that big of a deal, I guess. But, you know, strap, what do you call those thingies? Strap thingies. It's got 2 of them. This one's crooked. Then when we come to the body of the guitar, the weirdest feature is, of course, the speaker. This, I think it's about a 3-inch speaker. It's a crappy speaker, and it's got this ugly metal grill and this ring thingy with 4 screws in it. And the speaker sounds terrible. So let's hear the speaker. Let's hear guitar with and without speaker. Press the button. Out of tune. It's close enough for this video. I better tune that thing, Greg. The speaker sounds terrible. It's not very loud. And it has a very resonant mid-range peak. Right about, I think that's the most resonant note on the thing. So it's not a flat sounding speaker. It's a cheesy car stereo speaker or something. I don't know. It definitely was not designed for guitars. And you can hear the speaker through the back too, because I have this massive hole in the back. What if you use it as a Leslie speaker? That's really the best thing you can do with this guitar. Anyway, you got a volume knob, no tone. I don't even think the volume is necessary because you're never going to use it at half volume. But whatever. Okay, let's turn that off. Okay, I showed you the speaker. The pickup is a single coil speaker. And this is the only place on the guitar where the workmanship is subpar. If you look at the way the speaker, not the speaker, if you look at the way the pickup thing is routed, the curves on the routed hole are very amateurish, sloppy, like they didn't have a routing guide. They just kind of freehanded it, and they're not even, they don't look good. Everything else on the guitar is made very nicely, except the routing on that thing. And then the bridge, Strat style bridge. It's actually a very nice bridge. You got individual adjustable saddles, adjustable intonation with spring, and 2 height adjusting thingies. Oh, this one's loose. How can that be? And they're solid metal. They're not stamped metal like on a Strat, like on a Fender Strat. So it's a very nice bridge. It's got 5 screws screwing to the body, very solid. And then here's some weird hardware. You got 2 holes instead of 1 hole because the mini plug is for headphones. You can actually play this thing with headphones, and that kind of makes more sense for the built-in amplifier than the crappy sounding speaker. It's going to sound as good as your headphones sound. Or 1/4 inch to plug it into a amplifier, or 1/8 inch to plug it into mini headphones. All this hardware is ugly. Like, it's a lot of pieces of hardware here. 2 jacks, 2 hex nuts, the metal plate, 4 screws. It's like 8 or 9 pieces of hardware. It's sharp. I think they could have done a better way of designing this, but whatever. Like, this piece on the back is flush mounted. Could they have done flush mount, recessed mounting on this piece? They could have. It's kind of complicated to do it on a curved edge like that, and it's impossible to match the curve of the metal to the body, so there's a big lip thing there. It's a cheap Chinese guitar, and the quality is good overall. What I don't get is the reason for the design, the marketing. Like, who is this for? Are you gonna take this on an airplane? Why is the headstock so big? Are you gonna put it in your backpack to take to school? Is it to practice in your bedroom? Because now we have practice amps. Well, they didn't when this was made in the 90s. They did, but you know, they weren't as huge as they are today. 2-watt mini amps. The back hole is distressing. So look at the size of this back hole for the battery, which is, the hole is big enough for like 3 or 4 batteries. And you know, when I got this from the store, it came with this giant plastic insert which goes and fits in this hole. So they probably said, okay, that's the only size they make the insert in. We got to make this giant hole. So you got this insert with a spring in it and a lid and 4 screws. So again, 4 or 5 more pieces of hardware adding to the cost and the complexity. And virtually everybody who owns this, the cover flap falls off. So the insert was still there, but the cover was gone. So the genius or idiot, I don't know, you know, most guitar players, you figure it out for yourself. The genius who owned this before me had this whole thing covered up with this black, horrible duct tape. And it was like, it looked like some kind of a World War I infantryman had been bandaged in the field. Just massive amounts of way too much tape. I peeled all that tape off. I took the insert out, I threw it away. Tons of goo. I had to goo gone the heck out of this thing to get all the duct tape junk off of it. And then I said, well, what's the simplest way to hold the battery? And I just put 1 little screw. Okay, I needed a piece of paper as a shim, but you don't need all that plastic and metal. And the giant hole, the hole's way too big. The hole, okay, look how deep the hole is. The hole is this deep on a guitar that's, the hole is almost 1 inch deep on a guitar that's 1 1/4 inches deep. And the amount of routing that had to go into this to make the speaker fit in. So you've really messed with the structural integrity and the sustain by these 2 giant holes that kind of don't need to be there. I know you want to hear me talk, or do you want to hear me play the world's crappiest practice guitar? Yeah. Oh, so the volume also works here too. It's a nice sounding single coil pickup, and we're hearing that through the Fender Deluxe hot roddy thing. Way too much amp for this bedroom. And there you have it. The guitar that has no known marketplace. I don't know who this guitar is for, and I think they went out of business. Razor X, they made the guitar for a couple of years, I guess. And you can still find them used for 30 or 40 bucks. And it's a fun guitar to have around. And that's all I got to say about that. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Is there a better practice guitar? Is there a worse or stupider guitar than this? I don't know. Thanks for watching.